Greetings and welcome once again to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel, and I've talked about this topic before, but a lot of people don't get it for some reason. And in fact, I'll prove to you that even mainstream Greek math academics don't get it. So, Book 5 is where a lot of stuff happens that you later take for granted in algebra. Okay, in other words, long before number and algebra comes along, we have definitions of both factor and ratio. Okay, so now let's quickly go through the algebra. Through the book of the elements, and I'll show you very quickly. So the first one says a magnitude is part of another magnitude, the lesser of the greater when it measures the greater. So all it's saying there is that a magnitude is basically the concept of size, dimension, or extent. Okay, because not only the lesser can measure the greater, but also the greater can measure the lesser. Okay, so that very first definition of Book 5 refers to the concept of magnitude. It's not a number. Okay, unlike what Heath thought when he wrote a comment down here. Let's see, what did Heath write? He said, in other words, A is said to be a part of B if B is equal to MA. No, that's absolute bullshit, because at this stage, not only haven't you defined multiplication, you haven't defined division from which you get multiplication. You haven't even defined subtraction and addition from which you get division, and you don't even have number, and you haven't even established arithmetic. Okay, so it is done in the order that I'm about to show you. Okay, so the first thing that is done is you give the definition of a magnitude. In other words, a magnitude is simply the concept of size, dimension, or extent. Okay, it's not a number, by the way. It's not a number. Nothing to do with numbers whatsoever. Zero. Okay, I'll come back to that in a moment. Number two says, and the greater a multiple of the lesser. Now, by the way, multiple doesn't mean anything about multiplication. It is qualified by the second part, when it is measured by the lesser. Okay, so what this means is that if you have a straight line like this, let's get a straight line like this, just like that. Okay, whoop, one, like that. You got that straight line, and then let's make another straight line like this. Like this, and one more like this. Okay, so now this line segment here, this one here, is the greater of the two. So it also measures the lesser, but the lesser measures the greater. Look, oops, I didn't mean to do that. The lesser, 1, 2, 3, and we don't have to count. It just has to fit in there. We don't have to count. We can just go 1. We can just go like this, and like this, and like this, marking off each point where the line segment meets, and we know it fits exactly in there. Therefore, this line is a multiple of this line. Okay, that's what it means. Exactly. No numbers, nothing. Now, so that is definition 2. Then definition 3 is where all the confusion comes in. And Heath didn't understand this because, again, he did something with algebra here. If you look at his comment on this, if you go down here, he says, where is it? Oh, yeah. In modern notation, the ratio of two magnitudes, A and B. So he's thinking of two numbers, A and B. But these are not numbers, by the way. Okay? There are no numbers here at this stage. And it's not accidental. It's on purpose. Okay. So, but what does number 3 mean? Okay, so let's read the Greek and I'll explain what it means. Now, in the Greek it says, logos esti dio megathon homogenon I kata πηλικότητα πια σχέσεις. What that means is a ratio is two magnitudes homogeneous, or what relationship those magnitudes have towards quotient-ness. Okay, πηλικότητα, there's no exact English translation for it. It's a Greek word, and it means quotient-ness. Now, let me prove to you that Greek academics don't understand this. So if you type in πηλικότητα in your Google Translate, it says clayness. That's because pilos in Greek means clay. And so they think that this means clayness, but it's got nothing to do with clayness. And of course, they don't know how to spell properly. Otherwise, they would have spelled clayness correctly. So they don't understand what πηλικότητα means. Now, if you say quotient-ness and you try to translate it into Greek, it gives you a word here which means quotient. But get this, if you flip these around, you're not going to have quotient-ness anymore. Watch. You just have quotient, okay? See that? So quotient-ness should be πηλικότητα because the tita ending suffix in Greek means ness, okay? That's what it means. It means ness. Added two words in Greek at the end turns it into ness, okay? Hardness, softness, malakotita, sklerotita, whatever. Okay, so modern Greek academics, math academics, are morons because they never got this meaning. They never understood it. And of course, Heath didn't understand it either because although he was a brilliant scholar, both Greek and mathematics, he didn't know enough to understand that this is referring to quotient-ness of a ratio of magnitudes, not numbers, because that came much later. So now look, what is measure in actual fact? Measure is division. It comes from the theory, the initial theory of magnitudes. So say, for example, you have a line this long. Don't care about numbers right now, by the way, because we don't have numbers. And we want to measure this line with this line segment here, this diameter, okay? This diameter. So we go and we want to see how many times it fits. Okay, it fits into there. So we know we need to move the green dot to the black spot. So we move it there. It fits in there, and it fits in there. But look, there's a little bit left over. And so we know we can take that little bit out of here. See? Take that little bit out of there and put it there. And we've measured the line in geometry. We've measured the circumference with the diameter. Now, why can't you do that in algebra? Well, it's pretty simple. Look, so in algebra, all you have is this. You have a ratio like this. Hang on a second. You have a ratio like this in algebra. Didn't mean to do that. Oops. That's no good. Okay, so let's try again. So you have this ratio, okay? They're not numbers. Okay. Now, in algebra, we want to see what the count is of a certain magnitude that fits into both of these. And it turns out, guess what? It turns out there's no magnitude that you can use to fit into both of them. So if you take the whole of the diameter, there's always a little bit left over, and you cannot divide this diameter into any number of equal pieces. So that it will measure both the diameter and the circumference. Okay, that's what algebra does. So algebra deals only with rational numbers. It does not deal with irrational numbers because there isn't such a thing as an irrational number. You morons. Okay, so let's just summarize here. One gives you the concept of size, dimension, or extent. Two, definition 2 of Euclid Book 5, tells you that a magnitude can be a certain magnitude which measures another one, has a relationship such that the greater one is a multiple. Okay, so if magnitude A measures B, okay, then B is a multiple. In other words, of A. B is a multiple of A. It means that B measures A exactly as I showed you in this scheme here, okay, where you take this diameter and you measure the circumference. But in this case, it doesn't happen because there is no such magnitude in algebra. Then, and the third part is that a ratio is basically a comparison of two magnitudes, a long or short magnitude with another long or short magnitude, or even equal magnitudes, right? With respect to They're quotient-ness. Quotient-ness. Πηλικότητα. That means algebra counts these in certain equal parts and then gives you a number. So maybe 3.314 over 100, and this one here, 100 over 100. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, look, so don't be a Marcus Cliver or a mainstream idiotic professor of mathematics or calculus or whatever teacher you've had at school. Listen to what I'm telling you. I know what I'm talking about. So algebraic measure uses an abstract unit. It counts the number of equal parts in both the antecedent and the consequent. Okay, that's about as clear as I can explain it. So algebra deals only with rational numbers. So if you say, for example, pi plus 3, algebra treats that as a rational number because that's all algebra works at. Algebra sacrifices precision for generality. And so you think you're dealing with a rational number, but you're not. You're dealing always with a rational number. There is no such thing as an irrational number. It's a myth, okay? And it's not needed, by the way. It's a myth and it's not needed. So please do what I tell you. Study these things. Download my free article on academia, okay? This learning the right way, because I explain all those things inside this article. And you'll find it on academia. You first have to create an account and log in. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it. Okay, so if I go to my profile here, it's the first article that comes up. Let's just see it. And I'll place a link to it again in the detail section. Here it is. It says learning the correct way. And it's free forever because it's process knowledge. All right. And it explains that division is the primary measure of everything. Of course, it's based on two prior operations, difference and addition, in that order, by the way, in that order. So that's pretty much it. If you're not already a subscriber to my channel, become a subscriber, click like, follow me on academia.edu, and tell your friends about this. And if you want to know more, you can become a members only for $4.99 a month. Now, if you want to support me, you can also buy this ebook without a watermark at this link. Okay. So you simply come along here. Don't listen to your Dunning-Kruger professor or your Dunning-Kruger mathematics diseducator or uneducator, because I don't know what they're talking about. Okay. So you can get a free copy, not a free copy here, you can get a copy for about 10 euros, which doesn't have a watermark. So that's pretty much it. I'm John Gabriel. Till next time. Good.